Well, let's look at the issue of education.
Yes.
No, before we get to education, it is very important to quickly look at the youths. Without the youths in any country, that country is lost. Where we are at the moment, there's nothing to write home about the youths. And like you said, it is out of frustration. It is a deprivation. It is a lack of education. That's an area where I feel that anybody wanting to take the leadership of this country at the moment must take priority. Do you have an agenda for the young people of Nigeria?
You see, for any nation, the greatest asset should be the youth of that country. These are the people that you hope will one day take over the running of the affairs of the country. These are the people you expect one day that will continue with the task of building and strengthening critical institutions in the country. These are the people that you pray one day that will be the defenders of the nation and will be the one that will be piloting the affairs. And so any nation that fails to invest and invest handsomely in their youth are not investing in their tomorrow. Now, today, the greatest asset anybody can have is knowledge, is education. Not gold, not silver, not diamond. So if the youth are the best asset that any country have, and then the best assets also the youth can have, or any human being can have, is education, then the starting point should be, how do you ensure that the youth are well educated? Indeed, the issue of provision of education is one of the economic rights we have in our constitution. Any nation that fails to invest in their youth, and especially in the education of their youths, then are preparing themselves for doom. God forbid. Now, for me, the starting point will be education, qualitative education. And so I have to, first of all, overhaul the current educational curricula. For me, there are a lot of deficiencies. Some of us went to local education authority schools when we were growing up. Yet the quality of the education we got is something that you don't get in any government-owned schools in this country today. What went wrong? Government should be able to look into that. Yes, I've said earlier on that I believe in devolution of power. And of course, the implication is that some of these things will have to be devolved to the states and local government. But then there's a role. There's a role that federal government can play. Federal government can still partner even if the issue of educating youths at the primary level is not their own responsibility. But we can still partner in ensuring that indeed the education that is imparted, that is one that will add value to the system of education in the country. And then we could also invest in infrastructure, even by way of intervention. So the start point for me, as far as Nigerian youth are concerned, is education. And education here will be looked at from different perspectives. Those that will go and learn education for the purpose of working, whether in government or in the private sector. And then those who will go and learn trade and vocation, so that at the end of the day, they will now come out and will not necessarily have to rely on government for employment. Indeed, they will be able to start their own businesses and then grow wealth and then grow the economy. Now, there are those also, you will say, that today have been so educated with all the deficiencies in the system of education. What do you do with them? But they are not employable. A company will now advertise that I have 10 vacancies, and then 10,000 people now appear, and then you discover that they are not employable. What do? Now you begin to address the skill gaps. Some of them may be graduates. Some of them may be holders of higher national diploma and other technical courses. So you have to address that so that some of them become employable. But I tell you that for a government that means business, there are a lot of opportunities that the youth can have. For instance, I will expand the Nigeria police force, employ more educated youths that are active, that are strong, that are vibrant. I could also look at other services, civil defense, the Nigerian Army, Nigerian Navy, Nigerian Air Force, Federal Fire Service, and others. Now, make sure that these youths get skills and then you employ them there. And somebody may say, why are you going to get the money that you're going to pay them? Again, my answer will be, you stop the waste, you stop the fleecing in the system, and then you will have enough money to pay these people. But beyond this, you must make sure that you are paying them well. You will pay them well so that an average Nigerian policeman will not be on duty, whether on the street or anywhere, and then be subjected to the humiliation of receiving 200 naira bribe from anybody. You give them education so that they have pride in what they do. And then they say, sorry, I'm a policeman. And they will not take bribe on the streets. What of entertainment industry? It's one of the largest areas of employment. Expand it, bring back that cooperation between government and support, and liberalize the landscape again. And then a lot of youths will get in there. And then they will be able to get a lot of employment. Sports. Globally, sports is one area where youths get in and then make a lot of money. For goodness sake, why can't Nigerian youths begin to make money? An average footballer, for instance, that plays in Premier League or in other world-classified leagues will be making millions of naira weekly. And so, for those kind of sportsmen and women, you ask them to come and take what kind of work will give them that much. Encourage them into that, and a lot of other areas. But more importantly, give them opportunity to start business. Give them opportunity. Let them believe in themselves. Let them believe in their abilities. Let them believe in their capacity to also work for themselves. When I finished my NYSC as a young lawyer, I was employed, but I stayed for only 2.5 years in employment. I took the risk of establishing my own private firm. Today, I've been a very successful private legal practitioner. I want to see Nigerians also Nigerian youth begin to believe in themselves. But what is most important? After you've given them education, you've given them this training, and then you bridge that skill gap, then liberalize the landscape. Let them have opportunities, limitless opportunities. And indeed, Nigeria is a country of limitless opportunities. So these are what we can do. And then as soon as you encourage them, and then you make the environment good for development, for growth, I tell you, Nigerian youth are very, very creative. Nigerian youth are very hardworking. As soon as they get little support, they excel in whatever they choose to do. And so Nigerian youth will have that kind of support from us.